And hello out there. Here in Blog Talk and Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and Twitterlands and carrying on. How are all of you out there? It's another glorious evening, my tea sippers and Dunkin' and Crumpet Dunkers. So, darling, it's time for you to get ready because it's time, my darlings, to dish tea. And you're dishing the tea, my darlings, with Big Meach right here and right now. Honey, I'm going to come to you real cutely. I'm here at the Donut Factory, honey. As y'all know, this is my time where I like to espouse my thoughts and things. And I see many of you are coming on up in here. So come on up in here, have a good time with me. For the females who are coming up in here, this is going to be a topic, honey, that I think y'all may not like me a little bit today. And that's okay. That's going to be my precursor and all of that, because I'm going to talk about something that is not a popular subject. All right, good night. I'm going to talk about something that's not a popular subject, and because it's not popular, women, you guys, you may not like me with what I have to say. Okay. But what is going on is, as I titled this, the fight for men's rights. Is there really such a thing? You know? And I want to talk about this because it was a conversation that happened. And what's going on with my light? Okay, I think that's better. It was a conversation that we were having, my coworker and I having this morning. And it struck me because with the climate that we're in, you know, with the current White House establishment and administration of things, and, you know, we just got Kavanaugh onto the Supreme Court and all of that, and they are looking to somehow reverse or fight against the Roe versus Wade thing, you know, and the whole abortion laws and this, that, and the other. I was brought into a whole space that has me wondering. You know, we're claiming, God damn it, this phone is not ringing. Hold on, just a second. This is security. Okay. All right, darling, thank you. All right, let me know the checkouts are ready. Haha. But what it is that has me going into this whole little rut, darling, is that when we're looking at abortion rights and we're looking at you know, the Me Too movement, or this movement, or that movement, and carrying on, it is one thing that we look at it from the woman's point of view. You know what I'm saying? And how women are needing to be championed and carried on. And y'all know, honey, I am for women's rights and carried on. I believe in equality for all. And you know what, let me rephrase that. I think I'm going to phrase that. I say equity for all. Because, see, not necessarily everything is always equal. You know what I mean? And I say that because oftentimes what we think is equal is not necessarily equal as equity. Because equity means that you and I are given the same treatment, and we're giving what is just due for us, individually and carrying on at that particular time. And oftentimes, does it mean equality? Yes, it does mean equality. But at the same time, not everybody is entitled to the same equalness at the same time. It's based upon need. It's based upon where you are in this stage of life and carrying on. And I think to say equity in the mainstream culture, I think gets us into a place where we have to look at that wholeheartedly. You know what I'm saying? And also, we do have to make sure that we don't adulterate that comment, because oftentimes the powers that be will sit down there and say, well, they will try to determine what your equity is. You know what I'm saying? And that is what we want to look at. So when we say equality and carrying on, an equal is equal for everybody and this, that, and the other, I want to challenge that and say I want us to have equity in this fight. Now, saying all that, here's the topic, and like I said, ladies, you may not like me with what I have to say, but one of the things that I'm going to say is, I know we fight for women's rights and carrying on, and women, you want to be equal and carrying on, but here's the one area that you have complete and total dominance over, and a man cannot say anything about it. He has to suck it up. He has to sit down there and take the hit. And that is when it comes down to having children. Anytime a woman feels that she wants to discard the pregnancy or don't want the pregnancy, and I'm not talking about in cases of rape and incest and carrying on. We're going to remove that part of the criminal aspect of it out, because that's heinous, and we're not talking about that. I'm talking about those who sit up there and you go tooth and nail and say, you can't tell me what to do with my body. And yet the fathers, especially when you know who the father of the baby is, not the one you projected, when you know this is who he is, when you decide that you just want to end the pregnancy, there's nothing that the father can do. He can't stop it. He can't block it. He can't anything. And for that, men don't have any rights to their own children at that particular point. It becomes, well, it's my body. I'm going to do what I want to do. You can't tell me. You're not the one that's got to carry this baby. You're not the one that has to do X, Y, and Z. And though that is a true statement, it is also unfair to men. Because if a man wants to have his child, if a man wants to say, okay, let's get through this and you have the baby and give me my baby. If a man wants to do all that, he has no dog in this fight. And then here's the kick. Women, you say you don't want the baby, and then you say you don't want it. You won't go through the term of the pregnancy so that he can have his baby. And yet at the same time, you make him pay for the abortion. How fair is that? Okay? And I think we get afraid to have this conversation because for those of us who are pro-life, well, I'm pro-choice. Let me make this clear. I am very pro-choice because I am one who believes that I'm not God. I don't have a heaven or hell to put you in. Hold on.
Walk through the back of the house. All clear this time.
That's a copy. Thank you. I don't have a heaven or hell to put you in, and carrying on. At the same time of all of that, what ends up happening is, for my personal beliefs, if this were to have happened to me, I would want to have my child, okay? And if a woman had ever came to me and said she's going to abort my baby, I have to suck it up and be like, okay, it's your body, you do what you want to do. But at the same time, would I fuck with her anymore? Would I keep her in my vicinity? Would I look at her and have pleasant thoughts or whatever? Hell no. Because you've taken something from me that was a gift to the both of us, and you decided that I shouldn't have my gift. Okay? That there is completely unfair. But at the same time, we have no barometer in saying, how do we get over that? How is it that a man's stake in this can be heard, that his voice can be heard, without it becoming laws to say what a woman can and cannot do with her body? See, I think this is where we are in this particular fight. The whole thing of wanting to keep government out of your bedroom and government telling you what you can and cannot do, I get it, you know. The idea of saying that abortion is legal and this, that, illegal, and making it a crime and this, that, and the other, that's not the government's job to do that. Okay? For those who believe that abortion is murder and the baby is an entity and carrying on, I get all that, and I too, I will be one to agree with that. However, if the person who was carrying the child has reconciled all of that, they have come to peace with what that means. They have come to peace with understanding that, you know, whatever they're going to get through, whatever's coming from this or whatever the case may be, if they made peace with that, then okay, who are we to sit down there again, putting ourselves in God's shoes and putting judgment and ridicule on that? Okay, who are we to do that? At the same time, why is it that the father of the child has no stake in that particular fight? Why is it that the father of the child cannot fight for his child with the same fervor that a lot of you who are pro-lifers fight for unborn children? Yet you fight for these babies, but I don't see none of y'all at the orphanages. I don't see any of y'all adopting these kids. I don't see any of y'all becoming foster parents and carrying on. I don't even see y'all down at the social service offices, you know, advocating for children. All we know is you're advocating about unborn kids, and that's cute. But the back end of that particular fight, we don't see you making sure that these children that you say are God's gifts and are heaven and this, that, and the other, we do not see you on the back end making sure that these children are cared for outside of, you know, paying taxes, because taxes go to welfare and taxes help pay for, you know, some of these nonprofit organizations and carrying on donations. And, you know, so we have that particular avenue to contend with. But outside of those particular things, the generalized things, we do not have any rights. Men do not have rights to their unborn child. And I think that is completely and totally unfair. If we're sitting talking about equal rights for everybody, and women are fighting to be heard, and yes, I fight with you so that your voice can be heard. But the one area of life that a man has no say-so, and that is when you decide that you want to terminate a life that you're carrying, and he has no say in it, even and this is his child. He has no stake in that. He has no nothing. And then on top of it, you want to make sure that he pays for it. Give you the money to go down to the clinic. That's kind of fucked up, okay? Especially when he says, I want to keep the baby. Now, we're going to exclude all those pimps, ballers, and shot callers who want to sit up there and to deny that they the daddy. And they want to sit up there and get you out of their hair, so they give you the coin to go down there and take care of what you got to take care of, because I didn't say I wanted no babies. And he was the one who didn't take care of what he needed to do for himself to make sure he's not in that predicament. Neither one of y'all decided to use protective sex and this, that, and the other, because you got caught up in the fucking moment. Okay? However, when it comes to, I'm still talking about, the main topic that I'm talking about is men's rights. Okay, when is it that it's going to be okay for a man to fight for his right to be a man here in this particular country? And I'm not, and again, let me stress this, because I don't want y'all to start flipping out and thinking that I'm trying to say a woman don't have the right to be heard. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that where there's women's rights, and we're fighting so tough for women's rights and equality and equity, we also have to fight for men's rights, and particularly black men. Because the way how this society is set up as you've heard this on countless times, in countless different areas, on countless platforms, that this particular world is set up under a white male dominant hierarchy kind of thing. Okay, everything here is based on a white male perspective, okay, and how they are supposedly the powers that be, and they want how they feel how the world or our country should be ran. This is why these fights are so important. Black men, on the other hand, have never had their rights fought for outside of the civil rights movement, and even then, the fight became more so about black people rights and the right to be able to be included in this, that, and the other. Black men specifically have not been able to fight for themselves. Well, let me not say that. That's not completely true, because we did have the movement with Stokely Carmichael and all of them when I am a revolutionary. I am a man. Don't call me no boy. I am a man. Okay. And we did have that, but that was more so during the fact of trying to get employment, trying to care for my family, trying to be seen as a man. I want to work for a living. I'm not trying to get no handout. I'm not trying to sit down there and be up under the system. But then we need to take that a step further, because see, now in addition to let me work, let me earn a living, let me take care of my family, we have to now go a step above that and be like, okay, I need to raise my children. When black men were taken out of the household for the welfare system, we did not allow anybody to fight for that. Why is it that the black man had to leave so that the woman could get the money for the kids? That didn't make any sense. Why is it that that particular family structure was tore up and tore down? We still did not, we didn't fight for that structure. You know what I'm saying? And not in the numbers to where it made a difference, because now that has become the standard in a lot of black homes, or at least it is a perceived standard in African American culture or black and brown people culture, that the family unit is supposed to be ran by, this strong woman, and this, that, and the other, and that the man comes in and carries on and does whatever he does, but he's a fly-by-nighter. He's transient. And that there is a problem. So let me take a breath right here. I'm going to go and acknowledge everybody that came up in here. Y'all up in here in numbers, honey, and I love it. We have Daryl and Chris and Michael Todd and Kenneth that came in. Pamela. Anthony has come up in here, and you say, hey, kitty girl, call me back. I am, honey. Timothy has come in here. Greg done came up in here. Greg, you just getting off work? Okay, that's cool. Eric done came up in here. How you doing? Another Eric has come up in here, and Ollie and Terrell has come up in here, and Dominic, and we have a third Eric that came up in here. My sister McKees is up in here. Zamoriana is up in here. I love you too, McKees. Dominic, you say, hey, Big Meach, hey, baby. Zamoriana, you said, well, hello there, Miss Samantha Divinity. Yes, Samantha Stevens Divinity, darling. Hey, baby. Joseph Miller has come up in here. Eric, you said, what great observation, Meach. Yes, I'm glad that you think so, because, here's something that we have not been we don't take this across the board. We do not sit down here and get real with this. I'm trying to get into some light. Okay, but I'm comfortable here. But shit, okay. I just got to deal with it. We do not deal with this subject head on the way that we ought to. You know what I'm saying? We have a number of different organizations, single fathers out there who are trying to get the child support system off their backs. Because again, women, here's an area where men don't have a say, because you will sit down there and get a hair up your ass, or because of your detachment from the father of the baby or the fathers of the babies, okay, and because you pissed because the relationship didn't work out or whatever, you want to use the children as pawn pieces, and then want to take him down to the courthouse, put him on child support, or make sure he pays child support, then won't even allow him the right to come and see the baby. Now, again, I want to exclude the ones of you who are trying to get your baby daddies and the fathers to come out and spend time with the children, and they refuse to, okay? I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to those who you got a hair up your ass, and you sit up there and say, oh, no, he can't see his child. No, he can't see my baby. He can't see my baby. No, my baby, I don't want him around my child. And you take on all of that. You take all that on, and yet you want him to pay for that bullshit. You want him to pay and yet you won't even allow him to understand what your burden is. You claiming, oh, he don't know what I go through and this, that, and the other. But then you sit up there and tie the hands and sit up there and don't want him in the child's life. And then wonder how come the child go through all this old bullshit and why they have separation issues and why they become rebellious and why they this and why they that. And then you end up taking how you feel about the dude and imparting that onto the child. And so now the child has a one-sided opinion about a person they never knew. Don't know nothing about. All they got is stories and stuff of how, according to you, how he did you wrong, or he left me for some other bitch and blah, 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 blah. And see, that's your venom. That's your issue. That has nothing to do with the relationship between he and his child or children. Why would you sit down there and do all that, and then at the same time you want him to pay for it? That's not fair. That there is not fair. So again, men's rights. We talk about women's rights all the time and how women need to be equal and how we're fighting for that. Yes, I'm right there with it. At the same time of being right there with that, we got to be right there with men's rights as well. There are certain things that men have a right to do, and we need to look at that wholeheartedly and for real, and stop acting as if that doesn't exist because, well, we already in a male hierarchy dominant society and men got all the rights anyway. No, not in everything, because as I said, the two places that a man has no say-so, and that there is when you decide that you want to terminate a pregnancy, and or you decide when you're going to take him down and put him on child support, how he can and cannot see his children. Hold on. Copy that. Yeah. So let me continue on. Okay, Mitchell, you came up in here. Detrick, you came up. Donald and Kenyatta and Darn and Derek. Hey, Derek, hey, what's going on with you, boy? Ain't heard from you in a minute. Okay. Jericho, hey, come on up in here. Dominic, you said, ooh-wee. I just had a flashback to high school where me and my girlfriend at the time came to a decision about abortion when I was 16. But here's the thing, baby. You came to that decision y'all came to a decision. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like she told you she was doing it and you didn't have no stake in the game. You know what I'm saying? For those of you who are able to have a stake in the game and it was a conversation and like I said, you've made peace with it, that's a whole different issue. And that there, we have to applaud that because that's no judgment call. How, at the time, who are we to sit down and say what was good for you and what was not good for you? You know what I'm saying? That's not us. And it shouldn't be. But of course, we have a lot of people who want to come down and come down hard on you because of religious reasons and things, and people want to say, oh well, you shouldn't have done to do if you didn't know what you was gonna do, and blah 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 blah, and you didn't have a plan of action and et cetera, et cetera. A lot of folks get scared. A lot of folks are not ready. A lot of folks, if you were a teenager, talking about going into this thing, and you got to tell your parents and carrying on. So we have all of those different dynamics that makes this a scary time. At the same time, for those who didn't have that discussion, and you were told, oh, I'm going to have an abortion, or you were not told and you found out later that the girl aborted the child, and hey, that was my baby too. How come men do not have a stake in that, especially when they know they are the fathers? Not the fly-by-night ones that you claim this is going to be the baby daddy. Like you see on Maury Povich all the time. These bitches sitting up there bringing 6, 7, 8 men on the show and neither one of them are the daddies. That's crazy. Okay? You don't know who the hell you fucking around with and carrying on, and you trying to put a baby on somebody who didn't want to be bothered with you. See, this is where it comes into understanding your role as a sexual being. See, men folk, that we talk about men's rights, this is something that we need to teach our boys. Okay, this is the part of the talk that we don't have uh, that we don't have with our boys. You know, we always have the birds and the bees and this, that, and the other, but these are the conversations that we don't talk about. You know, Pamela, you said what cannot legally stop visitation if he pays or not. You know, that's true. But in certain states or whatever, see, women will get into this whole little do-wah-diddy, and see what ends up happening is if a man pushes his way, then it becomes a whole domestic violence situation. And I think that's where it gets funky, because it becomes more of, oh, he's disrespecting me, or he pushed up on me, or he hit me, or he shoved me, and he's violent and I don't want him around my baby. See, I think that's the little funny little twist on it, because if you sitting up here going through all these changes and carrying on, and you claiming that the baby need to be a part of the child's life, or the dad need to be a part of the child's life, then why is it that you always want to sit down there and keep him from seeing his child? Now, it is a whole different avenue if he is a drug dealer or doing some unscrupulous things or whatever that may be a detriment to the child. I would go ahead and share my story. As a teenager, you know, when my parents split or whatever, my mother never talked bad about my dad around us. You know, me being the eldest child, I being the nosy one of the things, I always overheard her talking to her girlfriends, you know, when we were supposed to be asleep and all this, that, and the other. And so I knew some of the business, okay? But when I was 16, in my early teens or whatever, my daddy, being the street hustler that he was, you know, he called himself trying to sling a little dope back in the day. And so I was just about to graduate high school at this particular time, and so he told me that what he was going to do was set me up to where I can set up here and sell for him. That way I can keep a little pocket change on me. And I was offended by that, okay, because that wasn't the lifestyle that I wanted to live or whatever. I did not want no parts of that, and I was offended by that. And I don't keep secrets from my mama most of the time. Okay. But that was one that when I went home, I could not settle with that, and I told my mother what Daddy said. And so she was like, I'm so glad that I got y'all away from that, you know. And so she told me then, she said, see, you had to learn him on your own. I couldn't tell you who he is, because my experience as me and your father, that's my business with him. Okay, that was our business. It had nothing to do with you. But I could not tell you not to love your dad or whatever, but I could tell you you're going to learn him on your own. And that was when I started to understand what was going on. You know what I'm saying? And this, that, and the other, how he was as a person. Now, since that time, I'm 48 now, so that was 32 years ago. Since that time, my father has evolved, and he's changed up, you know, he's come out of a lot of behaviors and carrying on. And since the passing of my brother 5.5 years ago, our relationship has gotten much stronger. It ain't what it should be, but it's much stronger than it's ever been. So, having said all that, man, this is something that we don't talk about with our boys and with our with our sons and with our nephews and carrying on. We do not have that extra talk, okay, of understanding what this is about the family court systems, understanding about your rights as a man, how it is that you have to sit down here and make the right choices. You can't sit down here and be directed by your lawyers all the time. And yes, we understand that it's difficult. We understand that men are very visual creatures. We are predators in a lot of instances. Okay, and we go after our prey. At the same time, we don't sit down and we don't police ourselves the way that we should. We don't sit down there and talk about, you know, what it is to be with a significant other. And as a gay man, I know half the time we don't, because it is celebrated. You know, as a man, it is celebrated, whether you're gay, straight, or whatever. It is celebrated to sit up there and get the conquest. In the gay world, honey, we sit up there, as long as you got the trade, but the trade is love. Trade is everything, honey. Ha ha ha. Okay. Our hetero-attractional counterparts, honey, it's all about bitches. As long as you can sit down there, I got this bitch, I got this bitch, I got this bitch on my dick kind of mentality, then hell, it's all about the conquest. We have not sat down there and talk about the consequence. It's always the conquest, never the consequence. And we as men need to do better with that, so that we can sit up there when we talk about men's rights. What rights do we have? Well, let's understand that. You can't sit down there and holler men's rights and then you've done nothing to prepare yourself, you know, or done nothing to uphold yourself to the standards of the rights. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a handful of folk. Listen, if the stereotype is men will be men, that there has been since the dawning of time. Okay, men gonna be men, honey. You gotta let a man be a man. And it upsets me sometimes, because oftentimes when that is said, it means that you're supposed to accept the fact that he's going to go out fucking somebody else, or going to have other sexual partners. And a lot of times it is said when he's got to get his hustle on because he got to make his coin. Okay? And we're supposed to accept the fact that a man is going, well, you got to let a man be a man. You know, and you're supposed to accept the fact that he's going to do some unscrupulous things and go into the underworld or go into, you know, dark areas and things. Okay? And we're just supposed to accept that and not have a conversation. Now, here's the thing. Well, another thing. In having those conversations, again, conquest versus consequence. See, when you sit down there, I teach this to all of the children that I mentor and carry on. It's best to make an educated decision. Have an educated decision versus a foolish choice. You know what I'm saying? Because, yeah, I choose to do this. Well, this is my choice, honey. This is, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, damn, I can't think of the word I'm looking for. You know, but this is, I choose to do this, honey. You know, damn, it's right on, I'm trying to go to this one particular word and I can't think of it right now. But we always go there, and, but oftentimes we get caught up in the moment. You know, it is a foolish decision because it is impulsive, and it doesn't have any thought to it. You know, you never thought about the other side of it. What it is when you come out on the back end. What is going to be down in the future? Because oftentimes some of the shit that you do now, you end up planting seeds and it doesn't have a harvest until years later. Okay? For those of you who, y'all know this, men folk, to where you didn't, especially if you've been in the service and didn't know that you had left. Hold on. Wait a minute. That's a copy. You know, when you sit up there and you got bitches all on different ports and carrying on, you know, and you doing your thing, honey, and then all of a sudden, here it is, years later, you never knew you left a child behind in Vietnam or whatever. And then they come looking for you, trying to find out who you are, where you been, you know, and all those particular kinds of shenanigans. So, we don't have the talk with our children, okay, the second half of that talk, of what it means to be a man in this culture, what it means to have your voice stripped from you, because a woman can take it in the blink of an eye, because she feels like she can, or she has the ability to do so. Okay, simply because she don't want to have the child, and that's fine. But whenever there's not a conversation and it's an agreement, because here's the thing, the conversation may be there, but the agreement may not be. Okay, and let me reference this, because see, I know my mother said this to me, and again, we don't want government in on this, because again, trying to tell a woman what she can and cannot do with her body, I believe that's a crime. At the same time, there has to be a conversation. Years ago, now I was born in 1970, and my mother told me when I was born that a woman could not arbitrarily get her tubes burn and tied. She had to get her husband's permission to do that. And I said, her permission? And she said, yeah, because at that time, if a man did not want his wife to tie her tubes or whatever because he wanted to have more children later, she couldn't do so without his permission. After my mother had my sisters in 1977, my mother said, no, I'm done. And so she had her tubes clipped, tied, burned, and she said, y'all gonna show them to me because that's it. He got 2 boys, he got 2 girls. What else can I have? Okay. So because of that, she took it upon herself to make that decision. Okay, because it was her body. Hey now. So, again, there's a slippery slope because we talk about wanting, government regulations and carrying on, but where is the happy medium when we don't have the agreement? You understand? Where is it that a man's voice can be heard without it being forced on a woman? Because I think that's what it was back in the day. It was always forced on a woman that she had to do this, and and blah 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 blah. Versus it coming from a space of let's have a conversation, and we decided that this is what we were going to do. Okay, that's where I am with all of this. You understand? That's why I'm Pam. You say, well, it goes both ways. Yes, it does. I agree. I totally agree. It goes both ways, darling. To where when we're talking about rights and we're talking about how this is supposed to be. If we're gonna have a family unit, I always say, I've heard when my mother said this to my daddy child, it was just a mess because I thought it was the cutest thing, but she learned it from her mama. Okay. And that was, my daddy was always one to say, well, I'm the head of the household. And mama said, well, if you the head, I'm the neck, and the head can't do nothing without me. And so that used to tickle me, okay? But my daddy didn't like that because he thought that meant that he was supposed to have complete control. He was supposed to always, have the last word. And in fact, that's what he told me and my brother one time. He said up there, as the man in the house, you don't let no woman tell you how the way the house goes. You the man, you have the last word. You have control of the house. You're the breadwinner. He was only in the household up until I was 8. That meant my brother was 5 when my parents divorced. I had to blink, y'all. The signal went out. Oh, but it was so vivid because he was cleaning up the house that day, and he had tied his head up in one of the little scarves like Ain't Your Mama. And yeah, we were in the den, and he was sitting down in the den, child, and sitting on the arm of the sofa with the broom in his hand, and he said that he wanted to give him a 5 on it, child. So. Oh, I just remember that so clearly. Oh, so clearly, like it was yesterday. But that was what that's how we were raised, okay, and at that particular time. So, I'm saying all this to say, women, as much as we're fighting for your rights, as much as we want to make sure your voices are heard, as much as we want to make sure that everybody is doing the right thing by you, I'm going to suggest, honey, that somebody also got to do the right thing by men, and that is at least have the conversation. Okay, have a conversation, share your fears, share what's going on, and stop using the kids as a pawn. All right, yeah, this thing keep blinking, so that means let me wrap this up. Stop using your pain as a weapon against the man. Especially in this, listen, y'all see what we're going through. This is 2018 right now. And men are under attack. Black men are still under attack. Even more so than before. With all of the killings and the police killings and everything that we got going on. We have all black neighborhoods, because I know folks consider they're talking about black on black crime. You know, but black on black crime happen because it's in all black neighborhoods, child. It's like white on white crimes happen in all white neighborhoods. They don't tell you that part of it because they want to make sure that they keep the narrative being, you know, trying to make it as if we just killing ourselves. And we are, but white folks are killing themselves too. You understand? So we have to look at this in a way that is going to empower the community. Women, you've got to come out of that. You've got to let a man have his voice. Men folk, if we're going to sit down there and talk about having our rights, then we've got to galvanize to come out of this whole pimp mentality. We have got to be the ones to stop showing the world that that adage of men will be men bullshit. It's machismo thing. Listen, you know, and it bothers me. Big Red, what's up, baby? I see you done came up in here. It bothers me when we going on with this damn machismo bullshit because I think that we're fighting for our masculinity. See, the ideal, the societal ideal of what masculinity is supposed to be, we have allowed that to permeate our society and to permeate male culture, particularly African Americans, you know, black folks. We have allowed what being a man is supposed to be. I can't stand using the term a real man because that's bullshit to me. Because a real man, number one, is going to always take care of his responsibilities. He's going to always look after his family. He's going to always do what he needs to do to make sure he and his family survive. He's going to always make sure that those that he cares about and he loves is going to be taken care of, have a plan of action, are always able to move forth. Now, that has nothing to do with sexual orientation. It has nothing to do with hard or soft. It has being able to stand up and basically to stand up to the plate. You know what I'm saying? Not run away from bullshit. Not run away when it's time to fight. When it's time to go to war, I don't need no motherfucking wimpy ass bitch to sit up there and become docile. Okay? Now that's a whole different... Now I want you to hear me clearly. Because I don't want you to think that because you talked yourself out of a fight or because you chose that, you know, you pick and choose your battles and like, you know what, this one ain't even worth it, I'm back, you know, fuck all that. That's different. That's a whole different mentality than you being scared and not sitting up here standing up for what you know is right, for what you know you need to stand up for. You're not going to sit down there and let a burglar come in your house and because you don't want to fight, that you're going to sit there and tell him to take the shit. Okay? Now, if he got a gun pointed at you, you may say, whoa, whoa, whoa. You know, and you may rethink some shit because is it worth it me getting shot or whatever over some bullshit? You know, that's the difference. That's the whole difference. Okay? That's the whole difference. Because, and then it's not about being stupid. Because if he's holding a gun on you, you trying to show how masculine you are, how hard you are, how much of a punk you ain't, and you going to charge him with the gun and for him to blow your goddamn chest out. Because you trying to show how hard you ain't, or how hard you are, how much of a punk you ain't. That's bullshit. See, that there is what we've got to learn how to separate all this old crazy ass shit that we as men, as males, have set up there to allow to become regular society for us. Then on top of it, for those of y'all who are street children, okay, the code of the street is something completely different. Okay, yes, we know the streets are carrying on, but we have allowed that particular mentality to dictate what kind of man you're supposed to be. I'm not the most masculine motherfucker that walks the planet, honey. I walk like my mama, so my hips pop in all different directions. But at the same time, when it comes down to it, oh, you better believe a motherfucker will knuckle up. And I'm not afraid of no ass whooping either. Do I want one? Hell no. Nobody wants an ass whooping, but I'm not scared of one either. I ain't scared of no goddamn ass whooping, honey. Shit, okay? And that's what's wrong now. These little kids, another thing, men folk, we ain't taught that to our boys. We ain't taught that. We always taught that you're supposed to go out here and best it. We teach them how to pick up a gun first. Everybody's scared of an ass whooping. You scared of being talked about that you got your ass whooped. Okay? But hell, I tell you, I got my ass whooped. Okay, yeah, you bested me. But honey, what about, I know I got that ass back, honey. Yeah. Okay, you kicked my ass, but I kicked yours right back. Okay? Wait a minute. What you say, Red? Hold on. How about every man be G-A-Y, gay, great as you can be? Are y'all man enough to be that? Oh, okay. Well, is that what gay is now? Great as you can be? Ha! G-A-Y, great as you can be. Come on now. You know what? Don't you make it red? Don't you make me put that on no t-shirt. Don't you make me put that on no t-shirt. Because I challenge every hetero attractional man to sit up there and say that. Because see, the word gay was never meant to be homosexual anyway. We have usurped it, you know, and carried on. And because gay always meant happy. Gay, if you look at it, go back over and look at some of the music and stuff from the 20s, 30s, and 40s. And even in the 50s. To use the term gay meant happy. Okay? But now it has become a whole nother thing to where it means, you know, homosexual or same gender loving and carrying on. And nobody could say the word gay without having a little chuckle or whatever. You know. So, you know, that be that. Tracy, you said, well, man, I missed the convo, Meach. That's all right, baby. It's going to replay. You can go back and replay it. Because, yeah. That is what we really got to get into this, children. We really got to get into this. And see, I'm gonna tell you something. I had my best friend. He laughed at me because when I have always been one who was trying to run from my masculinity, okay, because of what I felt it meant to me at the time. Okay. I've always thought that, you know, if I didn't want to be nothing like my daddy, because I did not agree with what he stood for and whatever. You know, he was, as far as I was concerned, he was a drunk, he was a wife beater and carrying on, you know, and those kinds of things. And I didn't believe in that. I did not believe that a man was supposed to sit down there and do those kinds of things to his woman and carrying on. You know, that was me. And so, to me, every man that I knew represented that, you know. Coming from the 70s, y'all remember The Burning Bed, honey? That was a book from the 70s and the 60s. It was a made-for-TV movie in the 70s. And so women were fighting for their equality and fighting for their rights to do whatever, because men had so much control over them at the time. And the laws were saying that a man could do this and a man could do that. And that there wasn't my plight, okay? And if y'all remember back in the 70s and stuff, that's when we had the Wonder Woman, the Bionic Woman, Charlie's Angels, and, you know, Police Woman, Christy Love, Pam Grier, and all of those movies and things. You know, when the women were becoming empowered and they showed you a woman kicking a man's ass and this, that, and the other, that there was, I live for that. And the day that I saw my mama do that to my daddy, my mother became my Wonder Woman instantly. Because my father was unstoppable. Nobody could whoop my daddy's ass at that time. My daddy had that kind of reputation. And then came Lorraine, honey. And Lorraine took that motherfucker over the table, honey, with one hand by his throat and flipped. And then flipped the table over. And I was mortified. I was mortified and I was living for it at the same time. And so I've always been about the strength of women and carried on. But at the same time, oh shit, I done lost my train of thought. I forgot where I was going. Anyway, we have allowed society to put men in these particular boxes. And so now it's up to us to make sure that we stop letting that box define us. And that's going to be a hard fight, because we have allowed street culture and carrying on to permeate this, that, and the other. We have, listen, y'all have heard me say this before, where we've let colors, whoever said blue is for boys and pink is for girls, need their ass whooped. Okay? That pastel colors, men ain't supposed to wear these particular colors because it shows how soft you are and this, that, and the other. We have allowed, listen, We have allowed, back in when I was a kid, it was Diana Ross, okay? If you would listen to Diana Ross, you know, men who would listen to her had to find her sexy and they wanted to fuck her in order to listen to her. You know what I'm saying? Now, the kids are like, if you listen to Beyonce, honey, something wrong with you. But yet straight men see her, they're having, she got a big ass and carrying on, blah, blah, blah. Oh, wow, how did Jay-Z land that? You know what I'm saying? So we have let music sit down there to dictate your masculinity. That's where I'm on. I'm on the masculinity kick. We have allowed music to tell you, because see, remember when the evolution of hip hop started, okay, and it was fun and this, that, and the other. It was very political. It was conscious rap and this, that, and the other. I remember all that, okay. I remember the fun times of it, okay. But then when it became gangster, when we started doing Luke and 2 Live Crew and all these other different shits and carrying on and NWA, then it became, if you wasn't listening to this kind of music, it questioned your masculinity. I wasn't into that kind of music at the time, you know, because I thought it was too harsh. I didn't like being that vocal like that, you know, and I still don't. Now, I would say in the club sometimes, there's a couple of songs that get me, you know, but I'm in the club, shit, you know, hey, okay. But on the regular, to sit down there and have that, I felt it was poison in me, you know, because that wasn't me. I wasn't in that particular culture. But music became the defining essence of what masculinity is. And then it became, if you wasn't listening, you know, Will Smith was supposedly the thing at one point. But then when all of it got hard to listen to Will Smith, oh, you soft. You know, to listen to LL Cool J, you were soft. You know, to listen to Biz Markie and Chubb Rock, oh, that's whack. You soft. Because they were sitting up there saying some shit, you know, it was cute, but they didn't have all the cussing. But because I wasn't fucking the police and this, that, and the other, and blah, 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 you know, it became something else. Now, let me go. I got comments coming up in here. Let me go to the comments. Big Red, you said exactly. You said what men in the 20s used to say they had a gay time, no sexual orientation. A gay old time, no sexual orientation. Exactly. Okay. Okay, Tracy, you said what? Lindsay Wagner. Yes, Lindsay Wagner and Linda Carter, honey. You better understand. Greg, you said what? You made it home. I'm back on. Okay, Greg. Red, you said what? Foxy Brown. Okay, Foxy Brown Sheba, baby, honey. How about that? You better get your a double dose of coffee. Ha ha. Come on now. Okay. Tracy, you said, well, I don't let it box me. I've always been that way. I have too, for the most part. Hold on. That's a copy. Okay. So, yeah, I have always been that way too, for the most part. You know, now during my earlier development and stuff, you know, in my teens and things, and not necessarily wanting to fit in, but I got tired of arguing with folks and carrying on. Then I was trying to understand what the music was. I was like, well, let me see what it's about, you know. And it was just too much for me. I just couldn't, honey. Okay, I just couldn't. And then when the girls started getting into it, now I love Queen Latifah. Okay, the Queen Latifah. I love Moni Love. I love MC Light. I love Salt and Pepper. But damn it, when Foxy Brown came on and Lil Kim, that shit just became too much for me. I was like, bitch, no. No. Okay, it was too much. Entirely too much. Okay? And carrying on. So I just couldn't. Okay? Greg, you say what? Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. Come on now. You better understand. Tracy, you say what now? Not even in the gay culture, I see people question masculinity over like in Beyonce. That shouldn't be. Exactly, because I got gay friends, masculine gay brothers, who may, you know, some of them are out, you know, out and open, but most of them are not. And they would even say that, you know, Beyonce is too gay for them. You know, all the single ladies, you know, when that came out and carried on. Or my all-time favorite song by Beyonce, honey, is Get Me Body. And, wait a minute. Oh, shit, I was, Baby Boy. Okay. With what's the rapper's name on that? Oh, shit, I can't call his name right now. I hate when I put myself on the spot and I get to stumbling over people's names and shit. Sean Paul, that's his name. Okay. So, those are my two favorite songs. And you know, when they come on at the club, a bitch will get up, I will still live and dance and carry on, just like I do to house music and to disco. But you know, but we have allowed masculinity to be defined by the music as well, but to be defined by the clothes. If you weren't wearing a certain clothing article or whatever, you're not wearing Timberland boots. And you know, at the time we were having Kango hats, and we had we had kangaroos. You know, yeah, we was doing kangaroos and shit at the time when I was in my teens and stuff. You know, and it was always about that particular status. So we as men, we've got to do better with redefining what masculinity is, and particularly as black folks, because see, as black Americans and black and brown people, we have allowed masculinity to bastardize us and adulterate us into thinking that it's supposed to mean this, and a lot of that, I believe, comes. It's a byproduct of slave mentality, because y'all know, you know, it's no secret and carrying on that we were separated from the families. So black men was always sold off from their children, or the children were taken away from the parents or whatever. So their whole idea of trying to identify and fit in and carrying on, we have always had separation anxiety, and abandonment issues and carrying on. And so we have allowed masculine, what is to be masculine, to be defined by outward appearance. How come we can't get back to what masculinity was in the 70s? Y'all remember that? See, when we go back and look at Jim Brown when he was in his right mind. Okay, Jim Brown and, you know, Richard Roundtree and stuff. Y'all remember Shaft and all those particular blaxploitation movies where men were men? You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by that was they didn't take no shit. They went to work every day to take care of it. They didn't cause no problems. The only time it was a fight was when somebody came up there to question them or try to take something that wasn't theirs. You know what I'm saying? If a man had a disagreement, he had a disagreement. It wasn't about him trying to run up on his squad or nothing like that. It was all about making sure he was together. I told y'all this before in another video. Y'all know I hate that term metrosexual. But because a man started taking care of himself, they didn't want to call a straight man gay. So they went to the whole metrosexual bullshit, because a man was able to get his manicures and pedicures and carrying on and taking care of his skin and, you know, this, that, and the other. But men been doing it all the time. Black men, we knew how to do that all the time when we were going out. Y'all heard me say this before. We knew what it was to sit up there, go get your fro and shit together, get your beard and your mustache done, and sit up there and get your face and shit did. Because they smooth out and you got your steam press on your face and all of that. Because why? You were going out with your woman. You was going out because y'all was finna represent one another. Y'all had to look good. It was all about the status. That was the whole thing. It wasn't a metro motherfucking sexual what, bitch. I had to take care of myself. When I want to touch I'm saying this as from a straight man's perspective. When a woman wanted to be touched, she didn't want to feel as though your hands was trying to sit up there and exfoliate her damn skin. She liked strong hands, but she wanted them to be soft to the touch as well. You had to find that delicate balance. You know what I'm saying? You know, y'all heard me say this before. I said this in another video about, remember Lava soap? How many of y'all remember Lava soap? It came in a red bar, Lava. Okay? That there, when they marketed it, y'all know they marketed that to be a man soap, right? Because a man was working in the factories and stuff, had the grease and the shit up under his fingernails. And that was a soap because it was a pumice stone or whatever and all that grit. And it was to exfoliate the hands and get all that grit and grime from up under. It was a man soap. And all the commercials they had about it and carrying on. So we've always been there. But now we have set up there and let that become a problem. And here's another thing too. How many of y'all remember the fact that pimps and stuff used to, that was pimp mentality to get your hair done and stuff. Pimps used to wear wigs and carry on, and quiet as it's kept. a lot of pimps were gay themselves, just had issues with women, and so they were able to take care of a woman and carry on. And this was their way of demonstrating how masculine they were. You know what I'm saying? Because a pimp was up there getting put on a fly ass wig and shit, come out with all these ostentatious colors and carrying on, and because he had money, everybody associated that with, oh my God, hold on.
Check the mail locker, leave the stairs, front drive, all clear this time.
Copy. You know, they sit up there and it became the glamour for all of that. See, that was glamorous. Did y'all remember back in the day? Remember the soul singers and stuff? Isley Brothers and all the male groups. Remember those costumes and carrying that they was wearing? Child, you couldn't catch a man wearing that shit today. Not a heterosexual man, a gay man would wear it. You know. But even still, we have allowed that stuff to sit down there. We've allowed the definition of masculinity to taint us. And so we've got to get back into redefining that. I told that to Brother Umar Johnson when I had him on the radio show a while ago. I'm like, no, we need to change that definition, because you ain't going to sit up here and tell me that I'm not a real man because I don't have sex with a woman. You can't tell me that when everything else that I'm doing, I'm taking care of your kids because your ass just sit down here and take care of your kids. I lift your woman up when you want to sit up there and kick her ass and beat her down. I sit up there and I point her to the man who she need to go fucking. I take care of the kids while you go get your groove on, girl. That's me uplifting the woman and making sure that the family dynamic is together. But you telling me I'm not a man or a real man because I don't have sex with her? Bullshit. That's bullshit. So basically you say a real man ain't a man unless he fucking something. But then now, look at what we got. We got all these folks fucking, making all these damn babies. You got 18 kids with 16 baby mamas. And then get mad because they took you to child support. Okay. So I'm going to finish these comments and then I'm going to get up out of here because we're about to get ready to switch out and I got to get ready to go walk these floors. Okay, y'all was on MC Hammer. Yes. KRS-One Edutainment. Yes. Okay, Pam, you said that was degrading. Yes, it was very degrading, honey. Big Red, you said, well, but most of the balladeers' partners are men and loved by women. Exactly. You already know that, child. Okay, you said, yes, I love Latifah. Honey, yeah, Latifah is the shit, baby. Okay. Oh, yeah, I took you back to Kangaroos. Yes, I did, baby. Ha. Brianna Nicole. Okay, girl, take care of your business, Miss Brianna. Okay. It's just you on the phone, bitch. It's just a couple of clicks and you'll be done. Tracy, you say what? Yes, many think of you, think if you communicate or have an extensive vocabulary, it's seen as soft. Now it's like they want you to dumb yourself down. You know what, Tracy? That has always been the T. That has always been the T, because if you had pretty handwriting, if you had good penmanship, you was soft. Oh, you write like a girl. What the fuck is that supposed to mean? You know, you had pretty penmanship, so it's legible, and the folks can sit there and know what you're talking about. Okay, Rosie Greer played defensive tackle for the Los Angeles Rams back in the day and sold flowers in the off-season. I didn't know he sold flowers. I didn't know that. That's interesting. Okay, teach me. Okay, thanks, baby. Oh, yes, kitty girl. Okay, thanks, Anthony. Probably you said there was discretion. Yes, there was discretion, honey. There was discretion. I'm gonna let you have that one because see, I'm trying to think of what part of the argument, what part of the point that you were bringing it up, because I don't want to take that out of context. I'm gonna let you have it because yeah, there was discretion. Exactly. You were considered to be a well-groomed man. Yes. Okay, you remember Anthony? You remember Lava too? Anthony, you said you didn't know that? Yes. That Lava soap was marketed to men. Yes. That was the first as far as men's cosmetics is concerned. Now we got all this stuff about Dove for men and this dial for men and this, that, and the other. Lava was the first soap that was targeted to men. Yes, it was. Okay. For sure, Big Red. Okay. Catagon soap as well. Okay, you know what? I forgot about her. You're right. Okay, remember men were processors in the 70s. Yes, they did. I do remember that, child. That was the James Brown that we called it back in the day. Sharpton's hair still has his hair. Cat is a man. Prince, okay, see there? Right, okay, exactly. Okay. What you say? Yes, I am a man. Yes, Pam Prince. Okay, ha. Tracy, you say all these babies that don't take care of none. Yeah, okay, Molly babies. And Michael, you say you agree. Okay. Molly babies, rather. Okay, see, we ain't gonna even talk about the drugs that carrying on. The Molly babies. Okay. Well, on that particular note, honey, because it's 2:58, and I'm finna get ready to get up out of here. We finna get ready to change off. And if I start walking, hold on. Copy that. If I start to walk and carry on, hey, now how you doing? Then what's going to happen is I'm going to end up losing my signal like I did earlier, and it's going to keep blinking and carrying on. So I'm going to end this here. But what I will say is this: if you love me, tell a friend, honey. If you hate me, tell an enemy. But do know this: one way, shape, style, form, or fashion, everything that I do is moving forward. I want you guys to sit up there. Please go to my website, dishingtea.com, for everything Dishing Tea. Follow me on all the social media platforms, honey. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and Twitter. For the most part, I am Big Meach, BIGMEACH. Either Big Meach #1 or Big Meach 7109, okay? Check me out. Make sure you like, subscribe, and be sure you take this video and share it to all, because we still want to get to the 2. I want the men to come forward, and I want y'all to talk about this. Men's rights, honey. How is it that we can sit down there and fight for our rights for equality and carrying on in a world or in an area where men don't have a voice? And that is during this time when a woman wants to sit down there and tell you that she's going to abort a baby and you have no say-so in it. So on that note, honey, I will talk to you guys in another world and another time, honey. You understand what I'm saying? So you may finish all of your tea because the tea has been dished. And, honey, if you still got crumpets left, honey, dunk those crumpets, baby. And we'll talk again soon, okay? Ciao. Mwah.